Okay, this is section 7.1, problem number 35, question 16, but it's a 35, 7.1, 35. You are the operation manager for an airline and you are considering a higher fare level for passenger in aisle seats. How many randomly selected air passenger must you survey? That's the first question. Assume that you want to be 95% confident that the sample percentage is within 2.5% points of the true population percentage. Complete part A and B. So part A, assume that nothing is known about the percentage of passengers who prefer aisle seats, and we need to find out the sample size. So to solve this problem, we have to first understand these are the symbol we're using. P stands for population proportion, P cap stands for sample proportion, N is the number of sample values, which is what we're trying to find here. E stands for margin of error, Z alpha over 2, which is the critical value, the G score, separating an area of alpha over 2 in the right tail of the standard normal distribution. So these are the symbols we're using, and these are the formula. There are two situations for the formula. The second one, when no estimate of p cap is known, when sample we don't have any idea about the, you know, nothing is known. So to answer the part A, you have to use this formula, the second formula. This one, we're going to use this one. Okay. So for this one, we need to find out the G value for given alpha and margin of error. If you look at the problem, this information, to find this information you have given, you want to be 95% confidence. That means alpha is 5%. So if alpha is 5%, alpha over 2 is 0.025, because half of the 5% is 2.5%. So you need to find out the value of G value for alpha over 2, 0.025. Okay, and you can use a calculator, your TI 8384 calculator, for finding this Z value. And there is a margin of error E. According to this problem, the margin of error is 2.5%, which is 0.025. So these are the value we're going to use. First of all, we need to use this formula. We need to find G value. For that, you have to go to the second, make sure your calculator is on, second variance number 3, which is in norm function that gives us, by giving the alpha value, here in this case it's alpha over 2, it gives us the value of G value, which is, in our case, alpha over 2 is 0.025, which is 2.5%. And for that, the G value is negative 1.959963986. You have to square this value, so use the square button, square of the answer. You have to multiply this by 0.25, so multiply it by 0.25 according to this formula, and then divide this by margin of error. In our case, it's 2.5%, which is 0.025. So parenthesis 0.025 parenthesis close, whole square of that, enter it. That is the sample size we need. Round up to the nearest integer. So if you round up to the nearest integer, it would be 1537. 1537. Excellent. In second case, assume that a prior survey suggests that about 35% of your passengers prefer an aisle seat. So in this case, you have to use the first formula, where P cap, as you can see, it's a 35%, that means 0.35, and Q cap, it's a 1 minus P cap. So 1 minus P cap means it's if P cap is 35%, then Q cap is 65%. Using the very same formula, we already have a Z value, square of that and E square. Just multiply this by P cap and Q cap instead of 0.25. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use this value, I'm going to divide that 0.25. That will give me just this part. you know, this is everything. So if I divide this value by 0.25, that will give me z alpha over 2 whole square over e square. Because we're using same z value and same margin of error, I don't have to retype it again. So I'm just going to divide this by 0.25, which now is this left side, this thing. Now I need to multiply this by p cap, which is in our case it's a 35%. So times it by 0.35, and then multiply it by q cap, which is 1 minus 0.35, which is 0.65. It's a 65% times 0.65. So that is 1398, because we have to round it to the next integer, so it's 1399. 1399. Remember what I did here is you know either you can use this formula again, you can find the g score and then square it, or divide it by e square and then multiply by p cap and q cap. You can do it from the beginning, or you can use this value divided by 0.25 and multiply by p cap and q cap. It's going to be the same answer. Okay.